This computer. Linda, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm warm. I can't believe how much snow we got.
Yes, it was a
Right?
lot of snow.
Right? You still
But
digging out? Or did you dig out?
my husband's digging out, not me. So
Of course. Of course. Of course. Well, it seems like it's still going to be cold for the next couple of weeks.
that's what the
Yeah.
weatherman says.
Yes.
So
So crazy. Linda, you and I go way back, but for those who are watching right now, can you give us a little introduction? Tell us who you are and what you do.
okay, so I'm head of HR for Ipsos Canada. We're one of the largest market research companies in Canada. But you and I go way back to when we were recruiting together
Mm,
as independent 360 recruiters. It was tough business that we were in, and I think that industry really helped us to shape us into who we are today. So
yes. Yeah.
that's what we do. And as well, I do executive coaching. And I look after the Belong initiative in Ipsos, ensuring that all our employees feel that sense of inclusivity. That's really, really needed these days. So it's a little
Awesome.
snippet about
Awesome.
me.
So you went from recruitment to now you're at leading the HR department for Ipsos.
Correct, correct. So I went from recruitment, both as an independent recruiter,
Yeah.
and then became an in-house recruiter, and then went up the ladder of HR. Now I head up HR.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, awesome. Thanks for the introduction. I just really quickly about me. My name is Pino Odessa. I run and operate a company called The Staffing Alternative. We specialize in the temporary and permanent executive placement of HR professionals. So if you're watching this video right now, if you're an HR professional, you're looking for your next opportunity, connect with me. If you're a hiring manager and you can't find a top HR talent, I can support you with that as well too. So okay, we're gonna jump into our call, and we're talking about recruitment trends, Linda.
Okay.
What's going on in the world of recruitment? So, as we know, it's always hard to find top talents, right?
Yeah.
What trends are you seeing now for 2026? What are you seeing right now?
Well, to talk about trends, I think we need to look at two stories that are playing at the same time. So the first is, there's economic turbulence everywhere.
Yeah,
Growth is limited. There's cost pressures that are real. We're looking at waves of layoffs across different industries. And so that causes some caution when it comes to employers and candidates. Employers are cautious because they're not sure what's going to happen over the next few months. And so they don't want to hire. Candidates are a little bit apprehensive. So, they're a little hesitant from moving from one role to another.
yeah,
On the other hand, we see the rise of AI and what that does in companies. So there are companies that are deep in transformation. There are some companies that are just starting the journey.
yeah,
AI is kind of reshaping the way we work, and
yeah.
it's kind of changing what work was before. And so based on those two stories, hiring trends for 2026 have, like, I look at it in three different ways. So the first is there's a big shift towards skills-based hiring.
Yeah.
What can you do is now beating out where have you been. The second is data-driven decision making when it comes to talent.
Okay.
And the third is the rise in AI augmented HR roles and capabilities. So those are, in a nutshell, three trends that I see happening in 2026 from an HR perspective.
Okay, let's talk about AI. So there's this comment that when we hear AI, people get scared that they think they're going to
Mhm.
lose their jobs. All right, is AI going to eliminate HR?
People talk about that a lot. HR, we're human beings. We're going nowhere. If
Yeah,
if you listen to the narrative out there right now, it's a lot of talk about AI and HI, which is human intelligence.
yeah,
So yes, AI, you've got to be fluent in understanding what AI can do, how it can augment our roles as HR professionals. What can we use AI to do to make us more efficient? Be it in recruitment, like you're doing, Pino,
yeah.
be it in performance management, reviewing job descriptions, communications, things like that. Understanding how AI can make us more efficient. But the important part for HR people is that we are in that intersection of ensuring that HR roles, HR tech, AI is integrated with good governance, good ethics, understanding how it actually translates into business outcomes. So thinking that we're going to be eliminated, that's a far stretch for me. That's a far stretch for me.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to be eliminated. I think AI is just another tool in the toolbox, right? You're always going to need people. You're always going to be facing, hiring like leaders and stuff. So you're always going to need that. So to suggest that AI is going to wipe out HR or all industries, no, I think it's just it's just another tool in the toolbox.
Exactly.
And like you said, enhance it, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
Linda, we talked before we jumped on, we talked about how organizations really struggle to find talent now, despite, I mean, the influx of applicants. We know there's a pool of applicants.
Right.
But why are organizations still struggling to find top talent? What's your opinion on that?
When I think about it, organizations are actually, when we use the phrase top talent, they're actually looking for top talent. They're looking for talent that speaks their language. I alluded to earlier that there's skills-based hiring right now. A lot of companies are stretched when it comes to cost, when it comes to payroll. Companies are being stretched to do more with less. And so when a candidate goes for an interview, every employer is looking for that person who can deliver what they need for business outcomes. So understanding the skills that are needed. Years ago, it was great to be able to say, hey, I am so-and-so title from so-and-so company. And based on that, you've got an in into the company. Those days are long gone.
Yeah.
It's more about what you can do. Understanding exactly how AI is affecting each company, wherever it is that you're interviewing.
Right. Okay, so you talked about what can you do for me? That's ultimately what the organization is looking for. What you can do for me, and also too, I mean, there's other things. I mean, we could talk about company culture and stuff, but I think ultimately is like, how can you help us now solve this problem?
Exactly. And from an HR perspective, do you really understand what the business is looking for? Do you know how we can go through change management? As an HR person, can you lead transformation? Can you lead change management that comes with the transformation that AI is bringing? So those practical things, gone are the days that an HR person can go for an interview and talk about the policies that they can put together. Those days are long gone.
Yeah. I think, no, I would say this. It's not long gone. It should still be discussed, but maybe not at the forefront.
And that's exactly what I mean. What I said was, it's not just the policy making. You have to be able to understand policies. You have to be able to, integrate them and know how to manage them. But that's no longer the one thing that's going to get you through the door. It's understanding how to tie those policies to the business outcomes, to navigate in an area of ambiguity, understand exactly what it is that, what keeps the CEO up at night, and how are you helping to ensure that whatever that challenge is being solved from a people perspective. So
okay. What are some, I want to pick your brain on this. What are some common mistakes you see from through your lens that are applicants, when you do meet them, what are some common mistakes that you see applicants are making or job seekers making?
Do you mean HR job seekers specifically?
Yeah, let's focus on HR. Sure. We'll focus on HR.
So with HR, I think, again, HR professionals really have to understand the shift right now, which is going into understanding the business intrinsically, embedding yourself in the business. So when people come to an interview and talk about, the titles that they have had, the certifications that they have had, those are all great attributes. But really and honestly, an HR person that cannot come and talk about how their strategic thinking, emotional intelligence is helping to shape the culture of an organization, it's going to be really difficult to make it through to, the top echelon of HR people who are being interviewed and hired. Understanding exactly what the numbers mean. Are you able to tell a story from the data? Can you interpret people analytics? Can you look at what is happening in your business and really tell a story from the data and make sure that you can connect the dots between what the numbers say and what the business needs.
Yeah.
So, HR professionals going into interviews and just being very general, or using cliches like, I like working with people. I've heard that for so many years. I like working with people. I like working with people. How about change that up?
Yep.
Say something like, I like solving people-related business challenges. That sounds a little bit better than I love working with people. Everybody's been saying that for 20 years. Enough already.
It's a buzzword that gets thrown around lightly,
Exactly.
so yeah. So, and you mentioned too, you've what I'm seeing too, when we place job ads now, Linda, I don't know about you, but we're seeing countless resumes. Like their inbox is flooded with,
Absolutely.
like, I'm hearing some of our clients, they were getting 500 resumes for one job posting.
Yep.
And most of them are not qualified. How does your team get through? How does your team get through all that? Like, how do you?
I think using AI tools to
Yeah,
whittle down exactly what it is that you're looking for. And
yeah,
that's where, on the candidate side, it comes to them being savvy and understanding how to really ensure that their resume speaks to the job that they're being recruited for, or the
yeah,
job that they're applying to. Understanding that there are certain keywords in the job description that also
yeah,
have to translate into your resume, because it's impossible for one person to screen through 500
yeah.
resumes. So,
Yes.
that's going to be done using AI, using applicant tracking systems, which I'm
Yeah,
sure you use. So
yeah,
ensuring that your resume actually matches the job
yeah,
gets your foot in the door.
yeah. I agree. What tool can you share? What tool you guys use at Ipsos?
Uh,
What
we
ATS?
use we use something called iTalent. It's an Oracle-based system,
Yeah.
and it's custom built for us. But we use
Okay.
iTalent.
Okay. Linda, what I've learned over the years is that most companies use an ATS or an HRIS system. However, I do want to share with you that you'll be surprised how many organizations actually aren't using
Mhm.
ATSs, HRIS systems, any technology whatsoever
Correct.
to actually manage that. So, like, when I talk to these kinds of what software are you using? We're not using a software. How do you manage that data?
Mhm.
Manually through Excel. I said, well, why aren't you having it? Why aren't you having a tool? Like, why don't you? They just don't invest in it. A lot of organizations still in 2026 don't see the value in adding a tool such like that, and it drives me crazy. Like, how could you not?
That's correct. Pino, when you think about organizations like that, it could be one of two things. Number one, perhaps they don't have the revenue, the funds to be able to
Yeah,
purchase or implement a good ATS system.
yeah,
But then you have the other side, where there are still some organizations that really don't see the value of HR, the value that HR brings to the table.
yeah,
And so when you have an organization like that, it's really difficult to ask for funds to purchase software
yeah,
that's for an HR purpose. So
yeah,
in organizations like that, it's making sure and ensuring that the business really understands the value
yeah,
that the human resources function brings to the success of the
yeah.
business. So,
Showing them
it
the
is
value.
unfortunate. Yeah, it is unfortunate that there are still some companies that are really not understanding what HR brings, but that's usually what happens there.
Yeah, like I said, I'm shocked. And there's some pretty big organizations that we partner with, and they're not using ATS. I'm like, how could you not? Want to take
Exactly.
advantage of that. And they're affordable now, Linda. Like, gone are the days where, like, they're super expensive. They made them more affordable and more user friendly
Exactly.
now, right?
Well, hey, it brings more business to you, Pino.
Right. And these tools just make our lives efficient and they make life easier. I couldn't imagine not working with an ATS, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Linda, if there's an HR, my audience or our audience is mostly HR professionals. What advice would you give them if they're struggling with their job search? I know we talked about that earlier. What would you say? You know what, Linda, I can't get over that job search. I've got a great resume. I'm saying all the right things. Is there anything else I can do to help me stand out to win my next interview? What would you say to that?
Um, So as I said to you, I do some coaching. And when I talk to people about their careers, you cannot underestimate the power of networking. It's so important to network
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
when someone refers someone to me,
Yeah.
it holds way more value
Yeah.
than just picking up a resume of someone who I don't know.
Yeah.
So if people have been applying and applying for a long time, they
Yeah.
need to capitalize on the network that they have. Because
Yeah.
as you know, Pino, there are a lot of jobs that come your way that are not even advertised.
Yes.
So there is that hidden market that people
Yeah.
up till today sometimes don't believe exists. But there
Yeah.
is a hidden market of jobs which you're only going to be able to access through people like you who have a staffing firm
Yeah.
or through networks and referrals. So
Yeah.
really honing in on your skills when it comes to networking and
Yeah.
making that a priority is the advice that I would give.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not what you know, who you know. Most of the jobs that I work on, I actually, Linda, to your point, I actually don't post for them. And
Exactly.
I think there's statistics, 70% of jobs that are available right now are actually not visible to you. You won't see them. And
Exactly.
and that's the hidden job market you talk about. I want to further add to that as well too. I think being active on network, yes, 100%, but also furthermore, be active on a platform like LinkedIn. I think when I
Correct.
see people commenting, sharing our interesting articles or creating articles, or it reminds me of them, right? Oh, there's
Correct.
Linda again.
Yep.
She's got some great content. And
Exactly.
story quickly, there was a applicant that I found I placed, and she was constantly very active on LinkedIn, and she was
Mhm.
creating videos, content. It reminded me of she was top of mind.
Wow. Yep.
So I
Exactly.
kept seeing this
Exactly.
great. I said, and then a role came up, and I said she would be great for that. Called up the client, got her the interview. She's now an senior HR business partner. She got promoted, and she's doing great.
That's amazing.
So doing these little things get you across the finish line. But like,
Exactly, exactly.
mhm,
Don't burn bridges either. No matter
yes,
how terrible you think your role is right now, do not burn a bridge. You're going to need
why?
whoever it is you're working with right now to give you a reference,
Yeah,
or that person might be in another network and they
yeah,
can refer you. So
yeah.
don't burn bridges and keep your networks active.
Well, Linda, was our HR community is the HR community in Toronto is so small, and we all know each other, right? We all
Correct.
seem to know someone that knows someone, right? So
Yes,
yes, excellent point. Don't burn any bridges because you're going to cross paths with that person at some point again,
absolutely.
right? At a
Absolutely.
networking event and such.
Mhm.
And Linda, networking events, how critical is that for job searching?
I think it's critical. Going to networking events, you get to meet people, you hear people say something. In a networking event, that's where someone's going to say, "Hey, are you connected in this group
Yeah,
or that group?"
yeah,
So you can't get by just looking for a job sitting behind your desk. You've got to
no.
get out there and let people know that you're looking.
You've really got to get out there and hustle
Mhm.
and just quick story. That's actually how I came to HR1. I actually went to an HRP event where I met Alan, and then
Ah,
Alan put me in contact with someone, and then that's
wow,
how I came to meet you, and that was my so yeah. So
that's
it's
awesome.
effective and it works, right?
It does. It does work. It does work. It's
Yeah,
a lot. It's work, but looking for a job is work. So,
it's a full-time job. Linda, you mentioned you're coaching right now.
mhm, yes,
Tell us
I
about that.
so I coach on the side. I also do executive coaching
Yeah.
at Ipsos. So
Okay.
I love taking people from point A to point B. So
Yeah.
when it comes to coaching executives, um, you know, they're wonderful people. They are very busy. They have
Yeah.
got pressures like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're responsible for revenue,
Yeah.
for driving success, for driving revenue.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just need a little bit of guidance on the people side, a
Yep.
little bit of guidance on their leadership presence,
Yep.
whatever it is. So it's very important to me to ensure that I'm that objective person
Yeah.
that can guide and help as people are trying to achieve their goals, meet
Yeah.
their goals, make their
Yeah.
vision reality. So
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it, Linda, it's great that you're doing that. We have coaches in the gym. We have coaches,
absolutely.
that manage our finances,
Hmm.
our portfolios and such. So why not
Yeah,
have a career coach, someone that, what, it just makes sense, right? Because
exactly.
we
You,
might
you,
have a struggle with our job searching, climbing up that ladder, and it's always nice to have someone like you that can say, hey, you know what, Linda, can we sit down? Can you help me? How do I get to the next stage in my career, right?
exactly. And as you said, everybody has a coach. So years ago, I remember talking to someone who said, "Oh, you get a coach when you're not doing well." But that's not it at all, because
Yes,
as you
it's the
said,
opposite.
We have millionaire basketball players who have coaches.
Yeah.
We have coaches who are coached. At
Yes.
my last company, I had
Yeah.
a coach. I was
Yeah.
coached.
Yeah.
So everybody needs someone who can give them some objective coaching every now and again. Just like
Yeah.
sometimes you need a therapist. Coaches are not therapists,
Yeah.
but you always need that objective ear
Yes.
to guide you in your goals.
I cannot agree with you more. Linda, if someone's watching this and they want to connect with you and they want to talk to you about their coaching and how you can help, how do they connect with you?
LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Linda
Yeah.
Area. Just
Yeah.
check me out on LinkedIn, and I'm sure Pino will have my link somewhere.
I'm
So
gonna I'm
that's the
gonna
easiest way to get me.
I'm gonna pump your tires and promote you on my LinkedIn feed
I
as well
love
too.
it.
Yes. So anything I could do to help and support you is right. So
Thank
Linda,
you.
I'm gonna wrap up. Thanks for your time. Thanks for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pino. You keep
Yes.
doing a great job. The HR community needs
I'm
people like you who
I'm
specialize
trying.
in HR.
I'm so trying. It's sometimes I pull my hair out, Linda. Sometimes I question myself. I may need your services sometime soon.
Sounds good. I'm here for you.
All right. Take care. Okay. Thanks,
Take
Linda.
care.
All
Thanks
right.
so much,
Bye.
Pino.
Bye.
Bye.